Okay, so what we're going to be doing in this video is kicking off the modeling process, and I'm going to be using near enough exactly the same process that I used for this. So this is kind of where I'm at with the character, so it's kind of blocked in, pretty happy with that as a first pass with it. And what I'll do is I'll kind of show you the process that I would use for this, and largely I follow the same kind of principles, and I try to mention it as much as I can. Look at Andrew Loomis, really great for just starting off modeling primitives, really helpful. And I guess everybody will be sick of us banging on about that guy. So right, okay, so what we'll do, hero stage 1, don't save, that's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to turn off this. So the first thing that I want to probably look to do is let's just plop down a cylinder, and we just want to start modeling our character. First up, there's a few things we need to change in each view. So let's go to shading, X-ray mode, because we need to be able to see the reference material behind what we're trying to model. Same again with this, shading, X-ray mode. And then what I also like to do is shading wireframe unshaded. That's kind of useful to have. And that's pretty much me ready to kind of start this off. So the reason that I've picked a cylinder for is if you look at Andrew Loomis, a kind of good starting point, think of the shape of a rib cage from the top down. Give or take, it's kind of like a squashed in cylinder. So there's a good starting point. That's what I might work out with. So I start off with a squashed out in cylinder. And what I'll do is I'll then delete. All I've done there is marquee tooled and then deselected by holding Control, deselect the middle span of faces, and then let's just spin underneath, and I've just got the bottom and the top selected. Hit delete, boom, rid of them. Turn on lighting, two-sided lighting, because the likelihood is some point down the modeling process you're likely to have to go inside and kind of fix a few points, and turning on two-sided lighting is really useful and really helpful to being able to identify things. So if you turn it off, it's bloody dark in there, so you can't see a thing. As you turn it on, there you go, it's nice and illuminated. Okay, so what I generally do when I model is I would be more inclined to kind of grab a span of vertex, hit D on the keyboard, and hold V and snap to the back vert there. And then I might rotate this, just because this is like the collar of his jacket, I guess. And then just pull this back to kind of line it up a little bit. So that's the first thing that I would likely do. And then what we'll do is, because that's the collar, so this again, it's a little bit out, the artwork. I can live with that, it's not the end of the world. And we're going to have to pull this out a touch. I'm only bothered about working from, as reference, this left side of the model. I don't really give a shit about this side of the model. It's mainly this side of the model that I'm working with at the moment, because what I want to do is just block in the character, and then I can worry about the asymmetry kind of afterwards. Right, so I'm just going to drag this, pull it up, let's just pull this there, let's kind of round this out a touch, so we've got this sort of shape going on there, and yeah, grab this, so all I've done there is hit D on the keyboard to change the pivot point, hold V to snap, and I just do this purely because it's much quicker to work with. And pull this back, and what I'm doing is I'm thinking about this rounded shape where we can look to have the kind of pelvis and the leg connecting a bit better there. So pull this back, snap it down, and we've got this vert that we're working with, and then just scale it out. So this line should kind of line up there. Okay, great. Pretty happy with that. Oh, hey Google, go away. Okay, so what we would then do is, this is kind of fitting really nice, pretty happy with it from the front and side. The reason that I'm not trying to line this up largely I'll just try to get kind of a bit of a mid, something between sort of the side view and the front view. I'll work with that one, that's a bit better. Okay, that's good, I can run with that. Next thing that I might do is just go to edge loop, mesh tools, insert edge loop. Let's just run an edge loop in here. And what I generally do is just double tap, hit R, scale it down. So all I've done there is tapped R to get scale up, top the manipulator just to scale in Y, and I'm just going to scale it down to flatten it out. hit D, change the pivot point, pull it back. Let's just whoosh, push that out. So there we go. So at the moment, if we look at it just in perspective view, and we were to hide the image planes in here, we can see we're starting. If we toggle between 1, 2 and 3, we can see that we're slowly getting a bit of a belly kind of emerging. So what I'm going to do is press on with this. Don't get too hung up, just leaving this in set to subdivision level 3, toggle between 1, 2 and 3, just to get an idea of the flow of the mesh. Sometimes if you just leave it model in 3, set to subdivision level 3, it can kind of throw you a little bit and people get a little bit hung up on that. Okay, mesh tools, insert edge loop. Let's just, again, we're keeping it relatively neat. So I'm going to hit D, snap, pull this back, pull this out there. So we're trying to create this rounded shape there. We're trying to create this little belly shape there. And at the moment, he feels a little bit up and down, so we're just going to kind of pull this in a touch to try to follow this curve of his coat or jacket. And again, I'm just working to the side, toggle 1, 2 and 3, just to kind of get a feel for it. And again, mesh tools, insert edge loop. And we'll just kind of slice something in there. Again, all I'm doing there, I hit R, scale it down, hit D, pull this back, scale it out in one axis first. So we've got this nice belly kind of shape building out. Again, if you toggle between 1, 2 and 3, see there how it differs so much? So what I'd maybe recommend is adding in another edge loop, or we might need to think about the spacing of these faces as well. So that's the next thing to do. So we'll kind of push in there. We're trying to, you know, hint at what this shape is. So this might be where we would then come into more of a kind of component level. So we're selecting just a selection, grabbing a selection of vertex, and we might then think about kind of, you know, this curvature of his belly, you know, his gut. He's got a big belly. So yeah, so we might need to think a little bit about that. And then, you know, again, don't be scared adding in edge loops. And the reason I'm keeping it quads is largely because it's just nice, neat, and it just looks good. No, the reason that we're using quads for is it helps with rigging, lighting, UVing, rendering, deformation, lots and lots of different areas. But there are different occasions where you won't be able to keep your mesh exclusively as quads. So for that, I'd maybe recommend triangles, or yeah, you might in some cases need like the odd 5-faced, 5-vertex kind of polygon, or an n-gon is the more commonly waffled on about. So yeah, so just try to kind of bear that in mind. You won't be able to keep it an exact science of, right, okay, the whole mesh is going to be triangled, quads, sorry. You know, there will be the odd exception where you have to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit and chop in the odd triangle here and there. Right, okay, so that looks pretty good. We need to create a little bit of definition for the back. So remember, I think your spine, it's not the most prominent. It's not sticking out like that. It's kind of more in, I guess. And then your shoulder blades would kind of, I mean, I'm obviously just going to grab this sort of span of edges and just pull this out just for the time being. We can work on details after. This is just largely, we're just blocking in the character at the moment. I'm not really that hung up about it. So yeah, so this is kind of the workflow that I'd be more keen to use. So we're thinking about this flow of his belly. You know, this is then wrapping up and around over the kind of pelvis. So we're trying to think of the contours that we might be looking to use. We want to keep them relatively square. We don't want to have them where they're getting sort of skewed and misshaped, because that's where, you know, there's the potential for causing a few issues. Okay, so let's have a little look at it in 3D, and we should be looking to try to keep the flow of the mesh quite neat. You know, and starting this off from a cylinder, you know, it's quite quickly we've got a bit of a belly going on there. Right, so the next thing that we'll do is edge, select the edge, select this edge and this edge, and then the next tool we're going to look at is bridge. Boom, just creates a bridge, dead simple. Try to avoid using a bridge this way, because generally it might give you weird kind of crazy things. So I would just kind of run them on the same side of the symmetry, so try not to kind of go this way and this way type of thing. Bridge, I would just keep them this way and this way, so they're following the same symmetry. Hit G, and then instead of using the bridge tool, because what will happen is if I select this and go bridge, it'll then create this weird thing. It's basically try to bridge across those two faces. So what I would do for this instead would maybe be use the fill hole command. So there we go, fill hole. See, there we go. Kind of keep it all quads all the time, or can we? Yes, we can. So maybe in this case we might have to think about try to think of your modeling as a little bit of a puzzle almost. So you're trying to work out the best way to get ultimately what it is that you're trying to create by keeping things largely quads and triangles. So yeah, I mean, maybe this isn't the greatest way to do it. It's given us a little bit of a hard edge, but that might work kind of neat for I guess his shoulders. You know, maybe this jacket, the kind of seams of where the arm, maybe it's quite kind of ruined or whatever. Okay, so this is kind of the process that I would use, generally starting off with primitives, and I would block in each and every individual shape. So largely the same. I would start off with cylinders and thinking about how we're going to connect them to that. We'll look at that in the next video. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll block in an arm in the next video and duplicate, flip it, and that's generally the process that I would use. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Any problems, just ping us an email or a message, and it's really nice to be slinging a few videos together again. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye bye.